So I think the place where the spectrum of morality is most dramatically brought out into the open is on the question of martyrdom, right? And self-sacrifice. So at the two ends of the game, you have these two acts of essentially suicide, right? So at the very beginning, it's an al-Qatala agent who you don't know. There's no really name put to him, who blows himself up in Piccadilly Circus. And then at the end, you have Alex sacrificing himself in order to destroy the chemical weapons facility.
You are a freedom fighter, Alex.
You're a born leader, Farah. Say the word.
What you see in these two at these two extremes is, of course, bad guy suicide at the beginning, good guy self-sacrifice at the end. But it's also, they do both essentially allow themselves to die, right? They sacrifice themselves for something greater. But that something greater, in the case of Alex, is to save millions and millions of people from the threat of weapons of mass destruction. Whereas at the beginning, it's in order to spread destruction. It's in order to spread chaos. But at the same time, I think it's interesting that the choice is made to basically make Alex a kind of a shaheed, a kind of a martyr, right? And in a sense, reclaim martyrdom for a good cause.
For the good guys. And what's interesting about that is that Alex is a martyr not for the U.S., but actually for the liberation of Urzikstan, right? And it's part of what makes playing Call of Duty so powerful, especially with modern warfare, because the story taps into these very compelling narratives about sacrifice, heroism, duty, all of these values that our heroes have.
I think Alex is a white savior, and
Right.
he's a white savior of brown people, right? With the Urziks, and it's not that the Urziks necessarily need him, right? So that's at least that's done pretty well. It's Farah herself can take care of herself, but Alex does come in to sacrifice himself and to save essentially the Urziks. And there is, as you said, there's that trope of self-sacrifice, but I think there's also the trope of the white man going in, living with natives, in a sense becoming like them, right? Joining their culture. Here in Modern Warfare, Alex starts to refer to Farah as cousin.
He wears a keffiyeh.
There's a kind of a will they not dynamic. Are they going to fall in love with each other or not? We don't quite know. There's these glances that they sometimes exchange.
They're definitely flirty.
There's some flirtiness. But I think, in the sort of the white male saving and going into a different culture and becoming like them and then trying to save them, you have a lot of American movies that do this, right? So there's Lieutenant John Dunbar in Dances with Wolves, if any of you have seen that film.
It's very old.
It's very old, very good. Captain Nathan Algren, acted by Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai. And Jake Sully in The Avatar, right? So Jake Sully is an American Marine, and then he basically becomes one of the Na'vi, right? And then he becomes so good at it that he actually becomes better than the Na'vi at being a Na'vi, right? And that's a very white man thing to be.
You fly now, with me, my brothers, sisters, and we will show the sky people that they cannot take whatever they want, and that this is our land.